Yo, what's up? Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now, and here's what we have coming up. Philadelphia signed a promising and developmental offensive lineman. We're going to talk about that player and also what the Eagles themselves are saying about making a trade as we approach the November 5th NFL trade deadline, which is coming up on Tuesday. You know what's coming up later today? A live show right here on the channel, and we are going to talk all things birds as we always do every single Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. So subscribe, hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications. Therefore, whenever we push out a show like this, whenever we go live for a Wednesday live show, a watch party, or breaking news, you will be notified. As for that signing that the Philadelphia Eagles have made today on this Wednesday, October 30th, they have signed an intriguing developmental offensive lineman and an offensive tackle in Braeden Daniels. Now, they are adding him to the practice squad. More on the player. He was a 2023 fourth-round pick just last year by the Washington Commanders, 118th overall pick. And he played collegiately under Kyle Whittingham at Utah. I love the way that Whittingham has his teams approach the game of football. Physicality, really well coached, fundamentals, discipline, and then the crowds there for some of those Utes games. They're awesome. But on the offensive side of the football, they've been able to develop really good players. And on defense, they have some marquee players littered across the National Football League as well. So Daniels, another one of those highly touted players going into the draft last year. He did miss his rookie year due to a torn rotator cuff, had to get surgery on that. So he didn't play in 2023. Then Washington decided to move on from him before the 2024 season and training camp began. He was with the Houston Texans practice squad, had a cup of coffee with the Los Angeles Chargers, hasn't been with the team since September, and now the Eagles are picking him up. We know what this is about, right? And this is why I'm kind of intrigued and I'm kind of excited by the addition here. The Eagles are all about taking chances on players with high draft pedigree and developing offensive linemen because Howie Roseman loves to build his team in the trenches. Here was the NFL.com scouting report on Braeden Daniels from Lance Zierlein. Active, athletic offensive lineman offering room for development at guard or tackle. Daniels is an impactful down blocker with the quickness to handle zone blocking duties, firing out and sustaining drive blocks. However, will require much better patience and footwork to keep from whiffing or falling off of blocks. Small hands prevent him from latching in as a run blocker or in pass protection, but flurrying hands and a tenacious mirror help him stay in front of rushers. Position versatility and correctable issues could raise his draft profile as a middle rounder with upside. So when he was leaving Utah and in the pre-draft process, that's what NFL.com had to say about him. And I always like offensive linemen who can play tackle, can play guard, because they can serve a couple of different roles. And the Eagles like identifying those types of offensive linemen. In the pre-draft process, he did earn a 9.48 relative athletic score grade from 0 to 10. That's how MathBomb is able to rank the athleticism of these prospects. He's 6'4". He was 294 pounds coming out of Utah, so a little bit later. I imagine he's added some weight since then, but a 30.5 vertical leap for being nearly 300 pounds is pretty good. Really good broad jump. He also ran really well in the pre-draft process. About a 5-second 40-yard dash. And when you're that size, running that quickly, pretty good. 33-inch arms as well. The hand size was kind of noted there, and they docked him on that, 9.375 inches. So a little bit smaller, but I don't really worry too much about the lack of hand size for offensive linemen. How athletic are you? How big and strong are you? Are you good with your base? Are you good with your fundamentals? Are you going to whiff on blocks in this type of scheme? Can you climb to that next level on some pull blocks? And can you just be a good pass blocker and a run blocker? And then you look at the Spider athletic chart here, grading pretty well the comparisons that he got. Joe Thuney, Joe Bitonio, Ali Marpet. Those are pretty good and have been some pretty good offensive linemen across the NFL. Joe Dahl out of Washington State. So a pretty intriguing prospect here making his way to Philadelphia. And that brings me to this, right? What did we just see? Eagles-Bengals Sunday. Yeah, Philadelphia's offense exploded in that second half. They once again dominated an opponent. Saquon ran for more than 100 yards. Jalen Hurts had one of his best passing and overall games going back to the 2022 season when he was the runner-up for MVP. But why were the Eagles able to run it and throw it successfully? The offensive line. And in that game, we had talked about it during the watch party, the Eagles were starting two backups. Fred Johnson at left tackle in the place of Jordan Mailata and Tyler Steen at right guard in the place of Mekhi Becton. They played awesome. And how about how Fred Johnson held up at left tackle against one of the top pass rushers in the National Football League in Trey Hendrickson? He gave up one pressure on 13 matchups, a pressure rate of 7.7%, the second lowest against Hendrickson this year. It's a really good performance right there, given that Fred Johnson's been a journeyman, but the Eagles took a chance on him. They brought him into their player development program, and they've turned him into a pretty good player. When he had to step in for Lane Johnson at right tackle against the Saints, he didn't give up a pressure. He wasn't good against Tampa Bay, but he's been good the last couple of games since that injury to Jordan Mailata. One pressure, 13 matchups against Trey Hendrickson, and a couple of those really good offensive line sets came on some big plays for Philadelphia when Hurts was throwing it downfield or when Saquon Barkley and others were running the ball. Jeff Stoutland University. This is the newest addition to it, and we'll see what happens with the player here. But when you have arguably the best offensive line coach in the NFL on your side, given the importance that offensive linemen play in overall team success, that's why you ought to be excited about this type of move. And Tyler Steen, Fred Johnson, they don't play as well as they do. They're not as prepared as they were if you don't have this man coaching up the offensive lineman. Jeff Stoutland is ours. If that makes you happy, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and of course, as always, go Birds. We'll do some trade talk on the other side, but first, today's Philadelphia Eagles, now sponsored by our friends at DraftKings, the best sports book in the game. And it's a sports book that myself and producer Chip, we use all the time. Speaking of myself and Chip, we run our 76ers channel, 76ers Now, and so you'll see the code is Sixers Chat. If you want to know how you can really support Chat Sports as a company, use that code Sixers Chat. It helps us, but also if you bet $5, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Here's some more on that, and then we have some picks for you. NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets that you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time, new DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. And let's look ahead to Sunday's game. Eagles going to be rocking the Kelly green jerseys. Doug Peterson making his return to Philadelphia. Jags aren't a good squad. I really think the Eagles, given how they've been playing, the momentum that they've been building, finding their identity, clicking on both sides of the ball, they're going to cover the 7.5-point spread. That's minus 110 right now. And I also like this. Eagles defense has been really good. Jags offense, not so good. You just can't trust Trevor Lawrence. They've been way too up and down. Christian Kirk got hurt last week. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Eagles force a punt for the Jags on the first drive. That's also minus 110. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code SixersChat. As we look ahead, the big question for Philadelphia as we look ahead to the November 5th NFL trade deadline, will the Eagles make a move? Big decisions will be made on Tuesday, November 5th. Will it involve the Eagles here? Nick Sirianni did say this earlier in the week about the Eagles making a move. I love the team that we have, and I think this team is really coming together. With that being said, I know we're always looking for ways to improve our team. I know Howie is the best at that, of always looking at ways that he can improve the football team. I admire that and value that of how he goes to work there. But like I said, love the guys that we have. I think we're coming together really nicely as a team, but we'll see how this next week plays out. Each year is different. Again, like I said, any way that we can make the team better, I'm always up for that. Sirianni making a good point. One more game until the NFL trade deadline. We'll see if anybody gets hurt. Let's hope not. We'll see if any weaknesses get exposed for Philadelphia. We'll see which other teams lose, who could become available. Still plenty of time left in order for the Philadelphia to measure this thing out and see if they do want to make a move. I thought what Vic Fangio said on Tuesday was pretty interesting. He was asked about whether or not he thinks the Eagles need to make a trade on the defensive side of the ball. He said, no, I like our defense, and in-season trades rarely work out. We've seen that with Philadelphia. Robert Quinn comes to mind. Kevin Byard comes to mind. Howie Roseman's tried to make additions. Those players just haven't ended up really doing anything. And Vic Fangio also has a point here, right? His defense has really come together. He's coaching his ass off. These young players are starting to develop and turn the corner, and that's led to the Eagles. Look at these numbers as compared to last year when they were bottom 5, bottom 10 in like every important major statistical defensive category. Philadelphia, 7th in points per game at 18.9, 7th in yards per game, just over 300, 6th in yards per play at 5.1, and red zone scoring, 6th, 42.8%. Pretty damn good. I also want to pass along what ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler had to say about the Eagles, because he called Philadelphia one of the most fascinating teams going into Tuesday's deadline. The Eagles are always a threat to make moves at the deadline, but they have no obvious needs. Left tackle Jordan Mailata will return soon. The youth experiment on defense is going well with Nolan Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Would general manager Howie Roseman take a shot at a star, such as Cardinals safety Budda Baker? And with that, we round out with this. Will the Eagles make a deadline trade? T for trade, P for pass. I like how C.J. Gardner-Johnson's been playing. I think Reed Blankenship is a viable safety on that back end. So if you bring in a player like Budda Baker, he can be used as a chess piece everywhere, but where is the need for him? And you're benching Blankenship to play Budda Baker? I'm not sure Philadelphia needs to do that. And the defensive play caller even has said, I don't think that we need to make a move. That's per Vic Fangio. Another reminder, Eagles Now, live today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you can stay in the know with all things birds from yours truly right here on Eagles Now.